Welcome to Television Sydney News. I'm Alex Pleffer. It's great to have you with us. In this week's bulletin, a Cherrybrook Childcare Centre to be demolished to make way for a new train station, an MLC student takes out top prize in a writing competition for her tale about whale culling, and young rugby fans get a chance to see the Bledisloe Cup up close. But first, owners of a Cherrybrook Childcare Centre have been told to pack up and relocate after just 8 months in operation. The New South Wales Government made the decision because the site was needed as an access road for a new Cherrybrook station on the North West Rail link. The Heritage House Childcare and Early Learning Centre opened its doors in January. When the multi-million-dollar centre was approved, it was not in a location where it would have been in the path of the new rail link, but the owners of the centre were told in April that the site of the station had been changed. Hornsby Mayor Nick Berman has received a petition with more than 400 signatures from local residents wanting the centre to remain open.
It is a great shame that Cherrybrook Peace School is going to go. Many suburbs in our shires are crying out for more childcare. And the fact is here you've got quite an impressive childcare centre, state of the art, opened in January, and regrettably it may not see its first year out. So that is a problem right now. A short-term problem is construction traffic and how that's going to be managed. The residents do have concerns about that, and they do think that they can be addressed while allowing for the speedy progress of this very important infrastructure project, equally in some way preserving part of their quality of life. The route of the North West Rail links changed over the last couple of years. They've looked at a number of different options as far as the best way to get the commuters in the northwest into the city predominantly, as well as other employment centres. And they've looked at how the rail network as a whole can cope with that. Geotechnical issues have been taken into account as far as the specific route of the line, obviously to position the line and the stations in areas which fit in with the geography, but also with the local road network and the existing neighbourhoods.
Mr Berman said the state government was keeping the council informed about the plans, but the details had emerged slowly.
I was aware of the change in the route back in about March or April, and we get regular briefings from the North West Rail Link and from the state government. As far as how that exactly translated into changes to the road network, it became apparent later on, and certainly local residents took a keen interest in that. And so the final detail for the project is gradually emerging. For some time we had to work out the general route of the railway line. That's now pretty much been finalised, and then there's where each station goes, and further to that is the specific design of the station and how it's accessed by pedestrians and by vehicles.
Security cameras are proposed for the Brighton Sands beachfront to curb conflict between jet ski riders, swimmers, windsurfers and kiteboarders. Cameras could also be extended to boat ramps and adjoining waterways where the clashes between the groups occur. The proposal was in a new draft boating plan for Botany Bay and the Georges, Warrenora and Cooks Rivers, released for comment by Ports Minister Duncan Gay. One of the major problems is the antisocial behaviour of some jet ski users, but conflicts also arose from the diversity of activities at the beach. Parents and staff of the former Hope Christian School at Narellan have welcomed news that the federal government will not recoup the $850,000 it granted the school to build a library under the Building the Education Revolution program. It said it would also withdraw a claim to recover $700,000 it granted under its capital grants program because the site will reopen as a government school from next year. The school was placed in voluntary liquidation in December last year, and the New South Wales government bought the school earlier this year for almost $6 million. Soldiers from one of Parramatta's oldest institutions will be marching out of step with the government after federal bean counters slashed the allowance for military band uniforms and instruments. The budget cuts will save $4 million annually, but will force members of the Parramatta-based New South Wales Lancer Regimental Band and 16 other bands across Australia to pay for their own instruments and uniforms. Honorary Secretary of the Royal New South Wales Lancers Association, John Howes, says he is disgusted and that the Parramatta Band costs only about $1,000 a year to run. Residents are opposing plans to build 3 unit blocks of up to 4 storeys tall in Ropes Crossing. While Lendlease insists medium density development was detailed in the precinct plan approved by Blacktown Council, residents say they were never told this type of development could go ahead. A petition will be sent to the council in the hope of stopping the developments, but Universal Property Group has lodged legal action in the Land and Environment Court in a bid to have the units approved. The safety of a Leppington intersection has been questioned following the death of a 64-year-old man on Bringelly Road recently. Camden Council candidate and Leppington resident Francis Van Buca says the closure of surrounding roads due to the construction of the South West Rail Link was putting too much pressure on Bringelly Road. A Roads and Maritime Services spokesman says the site will be reviewed as part of the investigation into the death. A swimming school to open in Guildford in January will not only teach about 60 young Afghan refugees how to swim, but will address the growing incidence of type 2 diabetes among people born in Middle Eastern countries, including Afghanistan. The Make a Splash summer swimming program is coming to Holroyd from the Auburn-based Australian Afghanistanian Youth Association. The Health Department says the prevalence of diabetes or high blood sugar among people born in the Middle East, including Afghanistan, is 8.1%, compared with 3.8% among Australian-born people. Swimming and exercise can help prevent it. What began as a Raunchy Tedford challenge entry about the dangers of texting while driving has become a vehicle for changing attitudes. Year 12 Northmead Creative and Performing Arts High School student Taylor Campbell is involved in the school's 8-minute Raunchy Tedford production, The Last Message, which is based around the themes of the romantic tragedy musical West Side Story. Taylor and her 100 castmates have become very vocal on the subject of texting while driving and are spreading the word about its dangers among family and friends.
Since being a part of Northmead High's Raunchy Tedford, we've become more socially aware of the dangers of texting and driving. We've spread the word amongst our family and friends.
The idea for Northmead's Raunchy Tedford came about is because we saw a documentary based on text messaging and driving. The documentary was called The Last Text, and it was an American documentary showing the dangers about text messaging and driving and how fatal it can actually be. It relates to them within their generation because text messaging is part of their daily communication routine, and so taking upon this theme, they really understand it.
The Roads and Maritime Services say the risk of an accident is quadrupled when people text while driving. The RMS website also says the risks are even greater for younger and inexperienced drivers, which is why learner and Provisional 1 drivers are banned from using hands-free phones. Animal activists have called on organisers of the Lugano Lions Spring Festival to scrap a rodeo planned for the September event. Entertainer Sylvia Ray is one St George resident who is protesting against the use of animals in entertainment. Ms Ray says the RSPCA, Animals Australia, Animal Liberation and 160 animal welfare groups around the world oppose rodeos as they cause fear and stress in animals. She says rodeos are banned in the UK, the ACT and elsewhere because of their cruelty. The event will be hosted by the Australian Bushmen's Camp Draft and Rodeo Association, which says it will abide by the New South Wales Government's Code of Practice for animals used in rodeo events. It has been some time since sword fighting was a regular pastime, but surprisingly there are still a few people parrying and thrusting around the western suburbs of Sydney. Campbelltown resident Karen Kennedy has more than 45 years of experience in martial arts, including judo and taekwondo, but choreographed sword fighting is her real passion.
What I enjoy most about this particular thing is the energy that bounces between people when you create choreography. It's something very exciting and thrilling to have a sword swinging at you at 100 mile an hour and you're missing it and parrying it and you're ducking and you're weaving and you're attacking and parrying. It's very exciting. What you see on film and theatre is what we do.
Kennedy is a regular at Blacktown's Medieval Fair, where she and her students perform mock battles with European broadswords. The performances have stirred enough interest for the martial artists to open a second school for sword fighting students in Glendenning.
What the people learn here is how to teach, how to lead. Because of the safety elements, they're aware of the dangers that can happen. So I like to think that I'm imparting the ideas of leadership and how to teach, and hopefully that encourages them to be confident and strong, and that boils over into their ordinary everyday life.